Welcome to Chat with Leaders. Our mission is to give resilient servant leaders a platform for sharing the inspiring things they're doing to lead their teams, customers, and themselves wisely. I'm today's host, Jeff Bond, Director of Client Services at AppBerry, where we build custom web and mobile apps. I'm proud to welcome John Wichmann, co-founder and COO of Maptician. Maptician Flex is now available as part of their workplace management platform and provides features such as social distancing, staggered scheduling, and contact tracing to help enable a post-COVID-19 workplace. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
What an interesting time to be talking about this as we're considering reopening offices and what that looks like. And you guys have recently had to tackle that problem. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about Maptician Flex and the things that you've had to pivot towards, John?
Sure. No, thanks, Jeff. So Maptician Flex is really a set of new features and functionality that we've released. Actually, we released those last week to really help employers plan their return and then execute the return to their offices and then operate in a safe and efficient manner, and in a way that really gives their employees the confidence that proactive steps were taken to do it in again a staged, planned manner, or however that company plans that return.
I know that's been a whirlwind for you, and this is uncharted territory. So nobody could have ever seen this coming and what it looks like to reopen an office and to rethink the way that your employees are set up. And it's a really, really interesting service that you guys offer, and your application is great for HR leaders and facility managers. What kind of concerns have you heard from your clients right now amidst COVID-19 reopening, and what are some of the common themes?
Sure. Well, I think there's obviously the standard ones of wanting to just keep people safe, and then there's just really some of the logistical challenges around potential state, local guidelines around maximum occupancy that could even be at a city level or potentially even a building level. And so what we're finding is that the organizations that we're speaking with really want to have that flexibility to be able to respond, whether they need to have 2 different seating schedules or 3, to really cover all their employees so that they're at least coming in for some of the days each month or every several weeks. But it's something they can plan on, and their team members can plan on as well.
It's amazing the challenge that you've had as a leader to have to really rethink your business so quickly. And I found that the common theme on this show amidst COVID-19 has been that we've had to innovate at a faster pace, and in a way it's forced us to think that way, and we've gotten more done as a result. So have you found that to be true in your case?
Yes, certainly. I think we're presented with some opportunities initially to help a homeless shelter try to figure out bed placement. And that really, I think, started off, they created a lot of activity for us, which was good, because at that point, our customers were all, I think, reeling and trying to work through the challenges of moving to a remote work environment and put that in place. And so really we were leaving them alone, and including the ones we were in the middle of implementing. They just really needed to focus on that first, which we certainly understand. So we had that opportunity to provide our software at no cost to a homeless shelter and do their floor plan recreation for them, and then help them with some of that planning. So that was good. That was a real flurry of activity. And then we launched a program to allow small to mid-sized shelters, 120 beds or more, to use the software for free for the remainder of the year. And hopefully that helps them through a tough time, and then gives us a chance to figure out, is this something there would be enough interest in to be able to invest in it on an ongoing basis.
Well, it's great that you've gotten involved in such a strong corporate social responsibility platform. I know you have Maptician Cares, and I know you through kind of the Christian business community, and you're a great person, a great leader. And I know that this has been something that's been put on your heart, and you've done a great job with pivoting that. Did you ever see that coming to where you were serving your platform in a homeless shelter, or was that just a complete surprise? How did that happen?
Yeah, it certainly was a surprise. I would say, though, to give credit to one of my co-founders, Nick Urich, I wasn't that surprised at how we could serve them, because the way Nick really architected the entire Maptician platform, really from day one, was not about getting something out fast or taking shortcuts. It really was about having a dimensionally accurate, dimensionally aware, and I'd say spatially aware platform that we could create floor plans on or other types of, drawing representations, whether it be a warehouse or something else down in the future, that would have dimensional accuracy and would have proximity awareness, and that would be sort of object based. And so everything knew what everything was and how far apart it was from other things. And so that allowed us to both help that shelter. Now, no doubt, Nick spent probably 3 or 4, maybe 5, 12-hour days really trying to put some things in there so it wouldn't just be slapped together. But he was able to leverage a lot of that underlying architecture. And then that also benefited us again, probably a couple of weeks after that, when we really started to accelerate into some of the Flex development and enhance some of those other features and functionality to work more in a commercial environment for their needs.
So tell me a little bit more about going back to your founding story. You find yourself at that point where you're innovating, you're building something new, and it's almost like you're back to square one in a lot of ways, in a lot of positive ways for sure. Tell me a little bit about kind of what pivoted you into this business and got you kind of launched into this leadership opportunity.
When I left, I left a company in the end of, what was it? I guess it was probably the summer of 2018, and I was trying to really figure out where to go next and what to do. And as a part of that, I had reconnected with the 2 people who are now my co-founders, who I worked with in the past, right? When I was at Expansion. So one of my co-founders was the founder of that company, Paul Urick, and then Nick Urick, who's his son, and who also I worked closely with while there. And so, just understanding what they were doing, I was really excited about what Nick was doing and said, hey, love to just help out and see if I can be an advisor to you. And I'll go do some research, talk to a lot of people in commercial real estate. Maybe we can kind of hone down these features to the ones that are most applicable and maybe highest value, at least initially, and we'll go from there. So we worked together in that form for probably about a year, I guess, a little over a year. And since then, I took another job, help a financial services company, in their professional services work and help kind of stand up and restructure a group a little bit there, and helped where I could from the advisor perspective. We were able to get a trial client in that period that we were able to spend 6 months with using the software to make sure we really had it right. And then I left in I think I joined up full time last summer in July, and that's sort of maybe a little bit after that, where we sort of really launched officially into the market. We had the time and the ability to go and get some new clients, and we've been building that up and learning with every client, and that's created a nice solid base of customers, which was really growing. And I think we were probably going to go for some seed funding to really drive that forward and accelerate that with some of the traction channels we had seen work during that period. And then, of course, the whole COVID-19 happened and everything there. And really what this, Jeff, has provided us with is, I'd say it was less of a pivot and more of a new way to extend the software that also happened to be something that was exceptionally high interest to many, many companies out there because of a very unique set of circumstances, we find ourselves in. So the underlying value and the underlying value proposition of the application still stands, and it will still produce exponential ROI for the users of it. But right now, they're most concerned about keeping the employees safe and being able to visualize how far apart they are, and reconfiguring things like conference rooms with fewer chairs, and being able to have that as mobile accessible information for the individuals who go and affect those reorganization sort of physical change plans, and really just give them more visibility to their offices and the information related to that office.
You and I have been involved with a lot of local groups that are filled with entrepreneurs and companies very similar to yours, where it takes a lot of hours and blood, sweat, and tears and stress, that goes along with it. Talk to me a little bit about, there's so many people now that are unemployed and are really skilled individuals that might be considering, entrepreneurship. Do I do a startup? Do I go out and get funding? Do I build a new product, and follow my passion? What advice would you have for people like that are kind of at a crossroads right now and considering taking that leap of faith into something more entrepreneurial?
Well, I think one thing is, and that I've sort of learned over time is maybe sometimes the perception about something and what the reality is could be two different things. So I think a close examination of that is important. Um, kind of being on both sides of it. I think there's some positives. I would never exchange. I was with a Fortune 500 company for 8 years after I left Expansion. That was an unusual situation, kind of getting used to that. I'd really never been, and it was also the reason I wanted to go try it, because I hadn't been in a large publicly traded organization that had a real drumbeat around sales and delivery oversight and all of those things. And while it was a little bit of a more of a transition than I thought it would be, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because it gave me so much more perspective on growth and growing companies and growing groups and significantly increasing revenue each year, and really what scale was all about. And then coming back into the entrepreneur side, it's obviously you're doing everything. Like, you can be, it's more like you figure out what you don't do. So I don't code. And this isn't,
It's probably a good thing.
Now we're starting to spread it out, but when you're in that entrepreneur hat, it's more about what you're not going to do, because you're not good at it. So I don't code, and pretty much anything else, I'll do. I'll help. Now we've gotten additional help. We've grown the team some. So that's been great, because we've been able to go through it ourselves, figure out how to compartmentalize certain pieces, and then how to allow others to help in those areas. So that's been super. I would say for somebody who's thinking about that, I mean, clearly I'd say keep your lines in the water for full-time opportunities. Even if you have a full-time opportunity, I think if you're prudent with your time, and you make sure you're giving your full measure of effort, right, to your employer, that you could move a lot of things forward before you make that jump. I think you may imagine, hey, there's tons I could do, and I would have so much time and everything, but then you jump and you're like, oh, I'm through a week of it. Now I got to go sell something, or go do this, or go do that. So I think it's really just, maybe more about structuring and planning your schedule. And maybe there's some things you can do early. Partnering with people is great. Software, if it's a software idea, software is expensive, really expensive. So if you can find somebody, or maybe a student who wants to try, be an entrepreneur, if you can get that piece, I think that's really helpful, because if you don't code and you want to do a software idea, you got to have a lot of money to make that work, in my opinion.
Good advice. And another part of your story that really resonates with me, and I think is useful for people to hear if you are considering on being in an entrepreneurial position, think about your network and the people that you know and the journeys that they're on. Sometimes it makes sense to band together and allow your gifts to complement one another. And it's good to acknowledge the things that you're not good at, but the areas where you can contribute and you can have a visible impact. And you've certainly done that with Maptician. And I'm proud to know you. I'm proud of the work that you're doing with homeless shelters. I'm proud of your social responsibility platform and how you guys have been able to pivot. And I think it's going to be a big success on the market right now, because companies are all talking about how they're going to reopen and rethink their office space, because it will happen. So it'll be great that you can guide them in the right direction and provide the tools to be able to execute that. So, John, how would people learn more about Maptician, get a hold of you, and take the next steps in contacting you?
Sure. Probably best way is you want to take a look at our website. It's maptician.com, maptician.com. And then, I'm on LinkedIn. If somebody wants to connect with me there, and probably the easiest way, rather than trying to have to remember an email address.
Yep. And we'll be posting this episode to our website, chatwithleaders.com, as well as all of our social media handles on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. Our handles at chatwithleaders. If you have any suggestions as to how we can improve the show and continue to add value and bring on great leaders like John, email us at info@chatwithleaders.com, and we'll continue to make it better. John, thank you so much for your good time and your inspiration. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks, Jeff. Good to speak with you.